Hi, my name is Daniela Dominguez, and in this video I want to talk about the most important metacognitive development and learning theories. So let's start with the first one, that is the Erikson psychosocial development theory. This theory was introduced back in the 1950s by the psychologist Erik Erikson. According to him, we experience 8 stages of human development during our lifespan, from infancy through late adulthood. At each stage, there is a crisis or a task that we need to resolve. If we are able to resolve the crisis, we will develop a virtue or a strength. However, if we fail to do so, we may not develop the necessary skills for a strong sense of self, and this may also lead to feelings of inadequacy. Now, let's talk about the Piaget's cognitive development theory. So, Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist who published his cognitive development theory back in 1936. And this theory is based on the idea that a child's intelligence changes throughout childhood, and their cognitive skills are learned as a child grows and interacts with their environment. According to Piaget, there are 4 stages of cognitive development in childhood. We have the first one that is called the sensory motor stage, that goes from 0 years to 2 years old, where children explore their environment and absorb information through senses of smell, sight, touch, taste, and sound. Then the second one is called the pre-operational stage, that goes from 2 to 7 years old. And in this stage, children learn the skill of symbolic representation. Children may also believe that inanimate objects, such as toys, have human lives and feelings. The third one is called the concrete operational stage, that goes from 7 to 11 years old. A child develops the ability to think logically and problem solve, but can only apply these skills to objects that can physically see. For example, things that are concrete. And finally, according to Piaget's theory, we have the formal operational stage, that is 12 years onwards. And in here, a person learns abstract thinking and hypothetical problem-solving skills. Deductive reasoning is also learned in this stage. Now let's go ahead with the next theory, that is the Bronfenbrenner's lifespan perspective. And Urie Bronfenbrenner was a Russian-born American psychologist whose beliefs are memorialized in his ecological systems theory. His theory suggests that a child's development is affected by the different environments they encounter during their lifetime, including biological, interpersonal, society, and cultural factors. In Bronfenbrenner's theory, we have 5 elements. We have the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, the macrosystem, and the chronosystem. So let's get more details regarding each element. The first one, that is called the microsystem, is the immediate environment. Basically, these elements tell us that people are influenced by their close contacts, and this can have a powerful effect on shaping an individual's development and behavior. Then the second one is called the mesosystem. This comprises all the relationships and interactions between microsystems. For example, a child's family and school interaction can impact learning and and also their academic performance. Then we have the next one, that is called the exosystem. In this element, it explains to us that basically, it's regarding the environments in which the individual is not an active participant, but still impacts their development. This could be, for example, the government, their social services, the community resources, as well as the mass media. Then we have the macrosystem. These elements explains that this is shaped by society and cultural beliefs, values, social norms, customs, traditions, and ideologies. And the last one is called the chronosystem. This model or element is about the role that time plays in influencing individual development. For example, it could be the experiences that occur over the course of a life and life transitions that people experience, as well as historical events and changes in society. Now let's go ahead with the Bandura social learning theory. So Albert Bandura was a Canadian psychologist who developed his theory in the 1960s. According to him, learning occurs through observation and imitation. Its theory also suggests that learning occurs by observing the consequences of other people's behaviors. And it also mentions that actions that are rewarded are more likely to be imitated, while those that are punished are avoided. Bandura outlines his theory through 4 key principles. The first one is through attention. In order to learn from others, we must first place our attention on the details of the specific behaviors that we're observing. Then the second one is called retention. For social learning to be effective, we must be able to store the information we acquire through observation in our memory. Then we have reproduction. This involves reproducing the behavior or skill we learned in the process. And finally, we have the fourth one that is called motivation. And people are more willing to learn and put their observations into practice when they perceive that there is a benefit or reward associated with that learning. Then we have Vygotsky's sociocultural perspective. And basically, this theory suggests that human learning is a social process and that our cognitive functions are formed based on our interactions with those around us who are more skilled. Growth is guided in part by people in our lives who are in mentor-type roles, such as teachers and parents. One thing that we need to outline is the zone of proximal development, or CPD, which is the area of exploration for which the student is cognitively prepared but requires help and social interaction to fully develop. Therefore, a teacher is able to provide scaffolding to support the student's evolving understanding of knowledge. And last but not the least, we also have Oswald meaningful learning. This theory was developed by David Oswald back in the early 1960s, and according to Oswald, in order to learn meaningfully, individuals must relate new knowledge to relevant concepts they already know. In other words, knowledge must interact with the learner's knowledge structure. Because meaningful learning involves a recognition of the links between concepts, it has the privilege of being transferred to long-term memory. The most crucial part in meaningful learning is how the new information is integrated into the old knowledge structure. So this was a small summary of all the most important metacognitive development and learning theories. I hope you have liked the video, and thank you so much for watching.